Late teens is insanely overwhelming for most people. Plans for the future, moving out, finishing school with good grades, making money, and somehow still having fun. No wonder this is the hardest time of most people's lives. But with the right tools, mindset, and preparation, you can make it the best time of your life. And not only make it easier for you, but also set you up for success later in life, while everyone else is catching STDs in clubs. So let's look at the 4 main problems people experience at that age and how to solve them. Problem 1. Lack of direction. One of the biggest problems that you will face at this age is not knowing what to do. And I don't mean you're bored and you're sitting there in your room and thinking, hey, what do I even do today? I mean in general in life. What's your life direction? Sure, you might have the general idea, but you'll doubt it. You'll think about it a lot and you'll try to understand whether that's actually what you want to do, or maybe not, or maybe you want to do something else. Because there are a lot of things that you can do in life, and it is very hard to choose one thing. But there are ways to figure this out. The easiest way to do this is to try many things, then choose one and act on it. What do I mean by try many things? For instance, you can try Microsoft Flight Simulator and try being a pilot. Or you can try watching a documentary about being a surgeon. Or you can try talking to a cop and ask him whether it's a good idea to become a cop. You don't necessarily have to try things yourself. You can just get somebody else's perspective on this. And this will help you to determine whether you want to go this path or you want to choose something else. You can watch one of my previous videos, the video right before the previous video to be exact, and that whole video is dedicated to solving this exact problem. So if this is still unclear for you, go ahead and watch that video. Another tip that I can give you is you need to get rid of sense of urgency. When you know that soon enough you'll need to choose your life path, you feel that this is very urgent and you need to do this exact moment. This is an overwhelming feeling that will actually make you stuck. The more you worry about this urgent thing, the more you want to procrastinate. So you need to notice when you have this sense of urgency, learn to acknowledge these thoughts, and then put them down. By the way, this is exactly what meditation is, so you might want to try meditation. Another thing I want you to remember is that almost everything is noise. What do I even mean by that? I mean that most things and opportunities you come across in your life are bullshit and will most likely never lead you to anything. So if you choose to do something, then stick to that thing. Don't disperse your attention to a lot of different things. Focus on one thing and become good at it. Problem 2. Money. Money will be a huge part of your late teens, and to be honest, the rest of your life too. But honestly, it's not the most important thing at that stage of your life. Skills are much more important than money, because the right skills will give you a lot of money. You may ask me, what skills do I need to get money? What are the right skills? And honestly, almost everything can be monetized nowadays. You just need to find the right way to monetize the skill you want to monetize. So what you need to do to get money is to solve the first problem, the problem of lack of direction, and that will give you some skill to develop. Then you need to develop the skill, become good at it, and find a way to monetize it. The ways to monetize any skill are endless nowadays. For instance, you can even monetize the skill of cleaning. Just create an Instagram page about cleaning. Seriously, there are such pages, and they have a lot of followers, so you can monetize literally any skill. A lot of people are stuck in this 20th century mindset that they need to find a real job, because the real job is stable and this social media can, disappear in a day. But it's just impossible to do with some skills. So if your chosen skill cannot be monetized traditionally, just use social media. That's way easier. The final thing I want to say about the money problem is you need to never rely on motivation. You need to build discipline instead. The way you build discipline is not how most people think it works. The way you actually build discipline is by creating a planner. You need to make a planner and then set a goal there. Not a long-term goal, but a short-term goal for like tomorrow or today. You can write something like, I will exercise at 6 p.m. today in my living room. And then you actually go and try to do this thing. And the more these little things you plan and do, the easier it will become. And that's exactly what discipline is. So don't rely on motivation, build discipline. Problem 3. Social pressure. You need to go to college and get a good career. You need to move out. You need to get a girlfriend. You need to try everything in life. You will encounter a lot of social pressure at that age. And most of that pressure comes from losers. Yes, you heard that right, and I'll say it again. Most of this pressure comes from losers. The phrase you need to try everything in life usually comes out of mouths of people who smoke and drink and do drugs and use it as an excuse for their shitty behaviors. You will rarely hear this phrase out of people who travel or try things that are actually interesting and good for you. So you need to learn to think with your own head. If somebody tries to pressure you into something, you need to first think whether this aligns with your values, with what you want from life. Because again, most people are not giving good advice, so you need to learn to filter it. Try to never do things because somebody told you to do this. Of course you can do things because somebody gave you an idea to do this, and you thought a lot about it, and you chose to do this yourself. But what I'm trying to say is, don't fall for peer pressure. A lot of people start drinking, smoking, and using drugs because of it, so do not end up like them. Now, the fact that you don't do what people are telling you to do will piss them off, but remember one thing. That's not their life, that's your life. You are responsible for it. Whatever happens to you is not their problem, which means that their advice is not your problem. The fact that they're pissed off is not your problem. And the final thing I will tell you about this problem is, it's better to take responsibility for your own mistakes than to feel sorry for following somebody else's advice. Problem 4. Independency. The main social pressure you will feel will be coming from your parents. There is a certain paradox. They will want you to become independent, but they will still want you to listen to all they're saying and follow any advice they give you. Navigating that dynamics is the hardest part of dealing with social pressure. It's always good to understand why somebody is advising what they're advising, but you always have a right to not take somebody's advice, even if it's coming from your parents. Now, the important thing is that if you want to be like your parents, which means that you like what they're doing, you like their way of life, and you want to be like them, then listening to what they tell you will give you exactly that. But if you don't want to live like them, if you want to do something else, if you want to choose some other path, then you need to become independent as soon as possible, so that they cannot easily pressure you financially or otherwise. While you're working on it, I understand that it may be hard for many people, and you will probably still need to interact with your parents and stand on your own thing, so there are a few things that can help you with that. First, always remember, it's your life, not theirs. They will not live your life for you, so it's not up to them to choose what you will do with your life. Second, you can always pretend to listen, but act how you want to avoid conflict. For instance, your parents are telling you need to go to college. You can tell them, well, I filed an application already. And they'll be like, okay, good. But in reality, you filed nothing. You are just pretending that you did to avoid conflict. Of course, this tactic will only delay conflict, but that's exactly what you need while you're working on being independent, which means making money and moving out. And as I said before, it's better to take responsibility for your own mistakes than to regret following somebody else's advice. Now, here's the catch. Almost all people figure these things out by themselves. They don't need some guy on YouTube, me, to tell them what to do, and they still figure these things out and live a good life. So if almost all people figure this out by themselves, what's the value of this knowledge then? And I'll tell you, it takes people years to figure it all out, and I just gave it to you right here, in like a 20 minutes video. So it would be kinda stupid to not use this knowledge to your advantage. While others still need to figure it all out, you just need to act. So go ahead and act now. Remember, discipline is freedom, and I see you in the next one.